Very smart dog. And so this story is about a very smart dog coming up with a very creative solution. But the dog also noticed, as the monkey took off, the two of them were together. And so, as the leopard reapproached with the monkey on its back, the very smart dog, thinking very differently, thinking creatively, again went over to the pile of bones and was heard to say, "Where's that darn monkey that I sent off to get me another leopard?" This is about coming up with ideas that you laugh about, but your competitor fears. Because you've come up with an idea for your business that no one else has thought of, and for a period of time, more than likely you have an advantage. So, creativity, as we'll see, is basically a natural neurological phenomenon. And if we can understand the principles and find a process to do it on purpose, we're way ahead. Now, I'll warn you that some people think that creative process is an oxymoron. Two words that don't belong together. And if you're going to be creative, there's no way that you're going to do it with a process. So you are welcome to consider that as one of the items in your mental junk drawer. Alternatively, my idea is only a current option. So as you're moving through these exercises, there are lots of options, and you're going to work with Post-its and markers and so on, and have lots and lots of ideas. But the thing that's so important here is that when I am challenged, I step to the side of any interpersonal battle. I think you're full of beans, but I'd like to hear what you have to say. Because it's just an idea. And I've seen companies struggle with this, and I've seen companies learn to handle it. And my hope is that as you move through this today, you can see how scenario planning makes it easier to get lots of options in front of you without arguing, and then actually turn these into options that everybody supports. So that's a big one as far as I'm concerned. If a company doesn't know how to handle conflict, if a company doesn't know how to handle options, it's very difficult to come up with good ideas. Because we're always leaning on the person rather than the idea. This is kind of a helpful diagram. The point here is that as I'm working with my team, more than likely I've got 5 different behaviors. And I've got avoiders and accommodators and compromisers and debaters, and they let you know who they are because they say things. In my culture, the avoiders don't show up. Or if they're there, I really can't, I'm just so busy, can you get someone else to do it, that kind of stuff? They're not going to help at all. The accommodators, for the most part, say whatever you say. So, they're really not helping out very much because they didn't contribute to the decision. The compromisers, I don't think that's a win. You get what you want, it's 50-50, that's homogenous, that's not so good. And the competitors, as we'll see, tend to get in the way because they always want to win. What we'd like to do is to collaborate. Here's what that can look like. This is a variation of the Thomas Kilmann model. And I folded it together, son of a gun. Here is my effective decision, and here's my effective support. So avoiders don't contribute to either. The accommodators are all about getting along with everybody, but not very good business decisions. The compromisers end up with a half-good decision with half support. I wouldn't settle for that. And competitors, for the most part, don't stop for stop signs. It's my way or the highway. Everyone's entitled to my opinion. These kind of folks. I'm hoping that you'll appreciate that tools like scenario planning will pull you up in that corner. Because if you follow the instructions of the exercise, it's going to help you collaborate. When you do that, you will likely come up with better decisions, and because it's so interactive, you'll end up with support. Dwight Eisenhower. The paper doesn't really mean very much. You know, it's how you actually conduct the dialogue driven by scenario planning to get you there. All right. This is what your wall looks like. Here's what you're going to do in a bit. This is just a quick overview of the exercises. Yes or no question. And we'll go through these in more detail. This is just kind of the 30,000 foot view. An example, should we build a facility? Now, you are on a business team at your table, and I probably wouldn't have you go after world hunger like the most important decision that you're working on, but I would encourage you to go after one that you really don't know the answer to. Because why not actually do work today while you practice with the process rather than pick one that's so easy that you really don't know as much of a difference? I would like you to pick one that you actually make some accomplishments with today. That's the first step in the scenario planning.
How many of you experience dysfunction in the workplace? Hey, well, we got a good audience. I'm hoping that you will begin to think about it as unacceptable. You know, it's sort of like many years ago in the manufacturing environment, acceptable scrap was a term. It's only $300,000 this quarter. But it really should be an oxymoron. And my hope is that you begin to look at dysfunction similar to the problems you might have in a manufacturing environment as waste. And when you see this waste, you might even target it and try to, probably not eliminate it, but certainly reduce it to the point that it isn't quite so uncomfortable anymore. I mean, I don't think anybody likes it, right? This is Taiichi Ohno's list. He's the person who, from Toyota, got everybody on a perpetual treasure hunt for waste. And when someone is trained to look for these things in their processes and to eliminate them, they can take from thousands, millions, in the case of Toyota, billions of dollars to the bottom line. Because usually it doesn't take extra capital. All you're doing is eliminating the waste. So my point is, I think you can think about how you meet similarly. Because these, for the most part, are not adding value. These are the behaviors that really just don't help. But my suspect is that if you live in or work in what's called a normal company, that you see these occasionally to frequently to all the time. So my point is that conflict can be considered one of the most expensive forms of waste. If you can even imagine dollarizing it. So tonight's freebie is, if you would like to send me an email, I will send you this interactive Excel spreadsheet. It's got 4 categories, primarily fixed costs, to help you calculate how much it's costing your company to have inefficient and ineffective meetings. All right, first of all, let's examine the causes of conflict. Consider the role of thinking styles and attitudes. Conflict has really got a bad rap. Most people, when they hear the word conflict, they go, oh, do we have to? There's some mud on our shoes, whatever it is. And my hope is that by the time we're done tonight, that you will at least have another definition of conflict. And as you mature and get better at being able to use these tools, if you're as a team leader, you actually want it. You actually want to provoke it. Why does this happen? So this is, again, just my perception, if you will, my experience, and how I explain it to make it easier for me to help people understand conflict in this way, and then be able to use these techniques to move people past it. You see the conflict in the behaviors, obviously, but you can also see the conflict in the decisions, when the decisions are really rather homogeneous or weak or bad. Well, let's just do that. I guess everybody's okay with that, but let's move on. That's not a good decision. These come about, for the most part, based on the ideas that we have. You can't go to a restaurant you've never heard of. If all of my ideas are about command and control, my behavior is more than likely to be command and control. If I learn about being an empowering manager and I like that, more than likely my behavior and my decisions are going to be more closely like that. So I'm on a treasure hunt for ideas that are better here. These ideas come by how I think. So my article series is Good Thinking. None of this is to tell you what to think. But in a sense, it's almost like a Macintosh junkie that's got every program that's ever been written. And depending on the kinds of ideas that you want at that point in time, you know how to think that way for a short period of time. Dr. De Bono helps us here. Intelligence and thinking are different. Intelligence is an innate capability. Thinking is how I use it. As such, it's a skill. I can continue to get better and better at how I think. Just to show you, a quick example. If I want to balance my checkbook, I'm going to be adding and subtracting. That's an appropriate thinking style. But if I want to describe motion, I have to use calculus. If I don't think in terms of calculus, I can't accurately describe motion. So, as we'll see here later, depending on the kinds of results I'm looking for, I should be searching for the appropriate thinking style.